Welcome to Maddie and me. Maddie's birth story.
Madeline Rose Salem. This girl was born like a bolt of lightning. I mean, they warn you, we took birthing class and stuff, that sometimes it can be a long, long labor for your first kid. Nope, not for us. Short and sweet and directly to the point. That was Maddie.
It all started March 27th in the evening. I'll never forget it, guys. I'll never forget it. I had made a delicious, very, very spicy, it was very spicy, crock-pot chicken. I had taken a nice, long, very hot, it was really hot, bath. And there was some sex that happened. I thought nothing of this. Because I wasn't due for another 8 days. I went into our bedroom, I started to read, and I started to have all this weird pressure, and I had to pee a lot, guys. Dumb me, never having a baby before. I was having contractions, and every time I had a contraction, I'd go pee. Well, this started at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I was reading, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to go to bed, and they were happening like every half hour. Every half hour, I'd get up and go pee. Well, shit hit the fan around 1:30 a.m., March 28th, because I was lying in bed and I had a contraction. Again, not knowing that they were contractions. And I heard a little pop.
So in the middle of the night, she wakes up and she's like, I think my water broke. And I'm like, did they tell you, like pregnant women, they pee all the time. She's been peeing all night long. Maybe just a little leaked out. But no, there was a lot. And she had definitely broken her water.
Lying in bed, and I was like, did my water just break? My husband, peacefully sleeping next to me, peacefully sleeping. And then I started having these contractions, because he was like, what about contractions? You're having contractions? And I was like, I don't know. Then I'm sitting on the toilet, and I legit had a massive contraction. I was like, I think I'm having a contraction. Well, I was not prepared for these contractions. They were like 4 minutes apart. That's close, guys. That's really close.
I'm drastically waking myself up because I got to install a car seat in the car in the middle of the night.
I'm freaking out because we don't have our bag completely packed. We don't have the car seat installed. I just wasn't prepared to go to the hospital right then and there, and wasn't prepared for this baby to come like that moment.
They tell you you're supposed to labor at home, right? Until the contractions are like 5 to 10 minutes apart. These suckers were 2 to 5 minutes apart. It was time to go to the hospital. Shot over there, zero traffic out. That was like the best ride ever. Middle of the night driving to Beverly Hills because it's so quiet. There's nobody on the road. We show up there 2:30.
I text my family because I have to text them and tell them my water broke. I'm in labor. I'm going to the hospital. We get to the hospital. And we get there. And they must have asked us, I cannot tell you how many times, are you sure you're in labor? Are you sure your water broke? Like all these things. And I'm like having these intense contractions. Like so much so I'm at the check-in desk and I'm trying to talk to her and I'm like, one moment.
Her contractions were so close together. She was already super dilated. 10 centimeters is the sweet spot. She was so close to halfway there by the time we showed up at the hospital. It's kind of like, come on, people, let us get in.
Even so, then they take you, once you check in, they take you to triage to, make sure that you're in labor. And I'm in there, and I'm lying in their bed after I changed, and all these nurses keep coming in and out, and they're like, you look very uncomfortable. And I'm like, I am very uncomfortable. And they're like, okay, well, we need to make sure that you're really in labor. And then finally this one nurse was like, she looks so uncomfortable. I'm just going to check that her water broke. I'm like, okay. So she checks and yeah, my water broke. And guys, I was 5 centimeters dilated. 5 centimeters dilated. Halfway there. She goes and looks at me and says, do you want an epidural? And I'm like, yes.
They grilled Mandy about her medical history and about the baby and how they wanted her to be birthed. I couldn't answer the questions. I could say the thing and then Mandy could say yes. Because they needed her confirmation that that was the way it was going to go down.
They're going to do the epidural. Then they start asking you more and more questions. Well, I said this before in our first video. I'm a cancer survivor. I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma 8 years ago. And so they want to ask you all of that. Because I had major surgery, because I had been given anesthesia before, blah, 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 all that. Well, the anesthesiologist who's going to do the epidural is asking me all these questions. I can't remember that shit when I'm having these strong contractions. And I kept looking at my husband and he kept answering for me. And then she kind of kept looking and wanting me to answer. And I'm like, man, people, I'm gonna have a baby here. I'm having massive contractions, and they want to ask me questions that are already in their system, guys. Already in their system. This is Cedars-Sinai. I had gone through all my treatment there. But I get it. They're just doing their due diligence. They're doing their due diligence. I get this epidural, and they're like, stay still. So I'm like, okay. But throughout the epidural, waiting for them to put it in, even when they're putting in, I was having the contractions. So I was holding those contractions, even though the woman triage nurse who admitted me was like, don't hold them, don't hold them. But they said, stay still. So as she's putting the needle in, I'm having a massive contraction, guys. A massive contraction. Oh my God. So I did not feel that epidural at all because I was having a massive contraction. My epidural's in. Whew.
I think she got her epidural just in time because any later, she may have been too far along to get that sucker. That's how quickly Maddi wanted to come. She was like, let me out of here, let me out of here. And thankfully, because later the doctor told us any later and Maddi might not have fit.
She was being a little like diva because girl's a diva already before she's even born. Then they come and they check me again. It's like 6 a.m. by this point. I'm 10 centimeters dilated. We're ready to go, guys. This baby is ready to come. So they're all excited. All these nurses come running in and they're like screaming and so excited for this baby to come in. They're like, where's the doctor? So they had paged the on-call doctor, but I don't think she was there at the hospital yet. 7 o'clock, like right around 7 o'clock. The doctor finally comes. We're going to do this. Woo! Baby is freaking out. Maddi's freaking out inside there. And then they're like, oh, I don't know. She's not coming out. So the doctor looks at me and she's like, are you okay with me suctioning her out? And I was like, girl, you do what you got to do.
Girl's like, you've been making me wait an hour. Well, screw this. She came out. She was holding her breath the entire way out into this world. Doctors freaked out. I was supposed to get to cut the umbilical cord, but the doctors were so nervous because Maddi was holding her breath. They snipped and rushed her over to the table. And I rushed over to see what the deal was, and then like 10 seconds later, she finally gasped for some air. I got to do the secondary cut of the umbilical cord. It was more of an honorary cut.
Girl, so funny. Funny already. Little Maddi holding her breath on the way out. And so she was a little blue, and then finally she let her breath go and she breathed, and everything was great. Then they brought her back over and got to see my cute, amazing little baby girl, Maddi. She was a little diva, even then, just fiery, wanting to come out, not wanting to come out. Girl came 8 days early. She set everything in motion.
Great, healthy, beautiful, big eyes, loving every minute of being in this world. They did a little skin-to-skin action, her and mom, me and her. Love it. Instant bond. Oh, and then we got next day pictures in the hospital. Hospital experience was wonderful. Like I said, I jetted out for about an hour and a half on day 2 to go to a Geico commercial audition. Booyah, booked it. Hell yeah. And Maddi loved every second of that. Took her home 2 days later. She did not like her first car ride. No siree. But can you blame her? It's a lot going on. Our beautiful daughter, Maddi, just couldn't wait to come into this world. Kicking and screaming and full of energy.
Comment below. Let me know your birth story and the craziness that ensued during it. Yeah, kids, yeah. Welcome to Maddi and Me.